Hello, my beautiful co-creators. Lilou here. I'm in Windsor in England still because I know you're saying, Lilou, you're on a roll. You keep on popping all those amazing interviews and people. Where are you finding them? Well, actually, I found a nest of leaders this weekend over in Windsor. And I'm just so moved that beyond the cold, beyond the seemingly tiredness, beyond it's not possible to do that many interviews in that many days, beyond like what seemingly is just like, there's no way this is possible. This is happening, and it's happening effortlessly. Life happens effortlessly when we allow it to, doesn't it? I'm here with Molly.
Hi, everybody. Lilou, thank you. Thank you for having me. Yes, I think now is the time in the world to just get out of our own way. Can you imagine if we woke up every morning and just said, this morning, I'm getting out of my own way, and just see what magic happens, because that's what's happened, as you said. It's learning to do that. So as then the real work can come in and flow in our lives. And that's not very often, that isn't easy all the time, because we're so programmed to be human doingness instead of this beingness. And maybe it's time to do both. Because in the beingness, the action gets done anyway.
Yeah, we have to kind of just let things happen as well. There is a certain there's something that carries us when we're on purpose, and we're going to speak about living on purpose. And I'm so excited to discover your work. You're an author. You're a humanitarian entrepreneur. You travel the world. You just did a conference, a speech right now, and I wasn't there because I was interviewing. So I'm excited to actually discover as you are, because it just, to me, there is just no coincidence in this world. And again, we're sitting here. Tell us about you. Why is it so important for you to now share this, and that it's important for people to be on purpose, to be authentic, to be themselves, to be who they are? Why is it so important at this moment in time and in history to be that?
I would guess that I am like many people out there on the planet. They've been born for this time. And I would say to them, as a child, did you ever feel you were a misfit and you didn't fit in and whatever? Yeah, that was me too. And then I now know I was being prepared for this time. And it's so exciting, because it's time to write a new story. And everything that worked yesterday won't work possibly today. Now, I live my life very simply. I get up, my feet touch the floor every morning at 5:05, and they have for the last 20 years. And as my feet touch the floor, I ask myself 3 questions. And I'd say to all the viewers out there, start asking yourself these questions. What am I doing? What's working? And more importantly, what do I need to stop doing? Because to do the work we're really here to do, we have to let go of those old programs. And we have to let go of what used to work yesterday, because it's no longer working. We have to have that breakdown to have the breakthrough. And that's what's happening now. It's breakthrough. This is the time, even if you're listening and you're listening to your shows, you are somebody who was born for this time. So imagine, here's something very practical to do. Imagine if for the next 30 days you buy yourself a journal and you ask yourself this question every morning for 30 days. What is trying to emerge in me right now? I promise that after about 15, 17 days, you'll begin to see a pattern. And you see, I think what's happening right now is we have to find the stillness to be still enough. So as that deep internal voice can speak to us.
You mean we've been too busy and so caught up in the daily life that we don't...
Absolutely. Busy being busy. We've been, it's total, just human doings. Maybe it's time to have a stop doing list. And maybe it's time to have a to-be list.
And it's interesting process. I can see how beautiful that process of writing every day, because there must be some things also that someday comes through and then you're saying, oh no, that's the ego. And then finally the real thing comes out.
Absolutely. And the real thing for me is that still small voice. That's how I know. It's different to any other voice. It's that still small voice that guides me, that just might say, go somewhere. And that might be a shop, and I might go to a bookshop and I might pick up a book and I go, wow, there it is. Or maybe I'll connect with someone and then I have another piece. And that's what I'm saying. It's joining the jigsaw right now of life, pulling it together. And for some people, they know their purposes, and other people, it's emerging. It's emerging. It's all this purging that's happening on the planet that is exciting, because we have to purge to come into that place of beingness where we are. That's what we need to do.
Yeah, but this small voice sometimes lead us. It's one action after the next, and we don't quite understand, and it feels really like this doesn't feel right to do it, or we're not ready. But we just keep on hearing it and hearing it and hearing. When we dismiss it.
Yes. And when we dismiss it, that's when, sometimes people are getting sick now, or they're full of despair, or they go into fear. But remember, in every moment that you live, you have a choice. You have a choice how you live the next moment. So it's living by those choices. And also for some people, for me, it was looking back to, what did I love to do as a child? Now, I was brought up in Southern Ireland in a place called County Waterford. And I was brought up on an 800,000 acre estate owned by Lord Delapour Beresford. And no, my dad wasn't the Lord. My dad used to work with the horses, and he was very intuitive. Now, I realise all those early years of growing up as an only child until I was 7, I was being prepared. Being prepared for this work. Being prepared. And I had this, even I can remember up to 12 years of age, I just said it when I was speaking downstairs earlier on today. You know, I never saw someone's body until I was about 12, but I could feel energy, I could see energy. And then I remember putting away those gifts, those intuitive gifts, for many, many years. I closed and I went down this road, for many, many years. But your soul, that deeper aspect of you, it'll come knocking one day. It'll come knocking, and there'll be a day that'll come in your life and you'll say, no more. No more. Now I go forth. So, for many, I went out in the world and I did everything. And as you know, Lilou, that I work between humanitarian and corporate. But now I realise all my life has been that bridge to bring both. To bring heart and soul back to banking. To bring heart and soul back to organisations. Because this is the new story. We're fed up of being empty suits in the workplace. And waiting until Friday. It's like we hang our soul, on the coat peg and say, I'll pick you up on Friday night. No. Can you imagine if you showed up every moment with the essence of the presence that you bring into this world? Can you imagine what would happen?
But aren't companies afraid that the people will leave? Because when I hear that you're bringing soul into the banking world, I mean, wow, what a wonderful thing to think about. But isn't it scary? Then people might want not to do that or change their career. Or?
I think the banks that are ready to move forward out there, and the organisations, they're doing it now. In fact, I flew back to Ireland last week and I was quite shocked myself, because one of the CEOs said it's time to bring the heart and soul back to business. And I thought, wow, time to bring the heart and the soul back to business. Because as I always say, when people come to work and they enjoy their work, what happens? Productivity and creativity goes up in the workplace. And if you look at some of the leading organisations, you look at Apple right now, leading edge there in the world. I would bet a guess that if we spoke to many employees in Apple, they would say they love the creativity of what they do. They love the essence of what they do every day. And you know what? The work gets done along the way. Because also the other thing that's happening out there on the planet now, it's the century of what I call the 3 C's. And that's connection, community, and collaboration. And I don't know, you're travelling the world right now, but don't you feel, and can you see the new language that is emerging? Because there's a new language out there, and it's out there as well in the workplace. And then language is all about transparency, honesty, and authenticity. And that's why, even as I sit talking to you, if I don't show up in my beingness, that'll come across. So I'd say to everybody out there, are you living on purpose? And here's something else. Every day, do you do what you say you're going to do? That's a hard one, Yes, we do when we're having good days, but when we're having challenging days, do you still send that email that you said you'd send? Do you still pick up the phone and make that phone call? Because that's what we're being called forth in the planet right now. And it's just such an extraordinary time to be alive right now.
You're inspired by the leaders?
I'm totally inspired by the leaders. And I'm totally inspired because, again, Jack Canfield I met many, many years ago. And I remember Jack asked me a question in Arizona in 2003, which totally links into the leaders. In fact, I was talking to them downstairs about it. He said, who's in your circle of genius? Who are the top 3 to 5 people that you hang around with? And I was going, Jack, why are you asking me that?
I remember him saying that.
Yeah. So why are you asking me that? And he says, well, that's going to tell me where you'll be in the next 5 to 10 years from now. But then take it a step further and say, okay, when you've got the, 3 to 5 people, on a scale of 1 to 10, how positive are they? And that's a real wake-up call. Are they helping you? And are you one of those 5 people? Because we have to hang around ourselves every day. My favourite saying is, we become who we have coffee with. So, what is it in the world? Your leadership is all about, you don't even have to open your mouth right now because the essence of your presence says it all. And this is the whole thing. It just says it all. What's radiating from you? Because, what is the world reflecting back to you? Because you will get back exactly what the world reflects back to you. And it's quite extraordinary. Yeah. So you don't even know that a year and a half ago, I don't know why, but I came across you on YouTube. No. And here we are in Windsor. So come on. It's the universe again. Yeah. The universe is weaving. We've just got to move with the weave and build the tapestries now. Yeah. Build the new tapestry.
Yeah, I was realizing myself today that actually Jack Canfield is one of the first ones that I started listening to, and that, or at least meeting. And I was listening to his talk, and I had a picture with him, and because he's from Santa Barbara, and I was born in Santa Barbara, and I saw all these, I saw myself in this picture and holding the book, and it was one of the first book where I start really, putting down and noting and taking notes and all that, and it's quite extraordinary to be here today from something he has created and that he wants to bring leaders together, and I'm very much I think it's beautiful that we all get together and support each other, and this collaboration thing that you're mentioning, I feel is essential, that we all open up, that we don't allow in our lives to have leaders that are not walking the talk. Absolutely. That we don't watch things that are not fulfilling our heart, that we stop, that we really take actions, because they wouldn't be the products or the medias or the this and that if there was nobody to watch or to buy. So we have to take a stand, and we can take stands in our life daily in small ways. Absolutely. There are big ways then that adds up.
Yeah. And, it takes great courage now. You might have to walk away as well at times, but you got to keep on walking. Because right now I think we're born to sow the seeds for the future generations. Because I know for the rest of the time I have on the planet, I'm just really helping to build the foundations with Jack and with everybody else and all the other leaders here at the weekend, to build the foundations, to just walk down the road spreading the seeds. And if you do that, each of us are leaving a legacy. And it's to really know and find out what is the peace that you bring on the planet right now. And then spend the rest of your life, every day of your life, just carving it. I always say wherever I go on the planet, I don't work. The day it becomes work, I'll give it up. And that's so true, because I could be nowhere else right now rather than be here. It's amazing. It's again following the synchronicities. And sometimes you don't have the whole picture. And very often you don't. But there's just something inside in you saying, one more step, one more step. And then the picture begins to open up.
Do you see that puzzle coming together? Do you see what you have learned through your life that brought you here now and doing what you do?
Totally. The whole of my life. The whole of my life I've been prepared. I mean, a great privilege to me is I've just come back from bringing leaders, working with Linda, who I know you also interviewed. So I was able to connect some of the top business people in the world to Linda's mission. And that's what we got to do. We got to share, we got to connect, we got to collaborate. But I was also able to bring my young son, who's 20 years of age. And that was so powerful to me because he'd been lost for 7 years of his life. And it was the first time when he heard I was going to Nepal, he said, "Mom, can I come with you?" And I learned so much because I'll never forget being in Kathmandu and he'd taken the baggage off the carousel. And when he took the baggage off, I was looking at the light in his eyes and I went, gosh, that's it. The switch has turned on in his eyes. And as a mother, I just looked at him and wept because I thought, my goodness, this is building my legacy through that beautiful young son I've given birth to. And I remember he turned around and I said, "Son," and he says, "Mom, I was born in England, but I'm really born to come back to Kathmandu and do my life's work." And I thought, and he's only 20. So this is it, because a lot of these kids, if you've got sons and daughters out there, they are very quick today. They're switching on, they're searching, they're on it. They're moving with the pulse.
Well, what's really cool is that it can happen because we all have people in our life that we feel that don't have that light and that spark in their eyes, and it's difficult at times because we can't even explain it, or we just can see it and feel it, and when we love people, that's the thing we wish for them to be that kid again and to have that spark. So it's fantastic to know actually that it can happen at any time, and like your son, it's so inspiring to me to know that just because he was there at this place, then it did it for him.
And actually it was a longer process because, as you said, the best thing you can give anybody in your life is the essence of your presence. And my son came home one day, because he goes to school, as you know, in England, and he came home one day and he said, "Mom, I need you to tell Dad," this was at 16 by the way, "I'm not going back to school." And I went, oh dear, my husband is very left brain, how am I going to do this? And I said, okay. So I said, okay. I said, "Why don't you want to go back to school?" And he said, "Mom, I need thinking time." So I spoke to my husband, and I will not tell you the answer, but we agreed he'd have thinking time for a year. And then after the year, I said to him, "Son, do you know what you want to do? What's the next step?" And he says, "Mom, I need some more thinking time." I went, okay. He said, "Yeah, I need more thinking time, Mom." So I thought, okay, go back. So I spoke to my husband. We sat down, and I'm very blessed with the man I'm married to. And he sat down and he said, "Okay, you seem to know what you're doing." And I said, "Well, no, we're in this together." So after another year, I said, "Son, what are you doing?" He said, "Well, Mom, I found a job," he said, "in a computer shop." So he went into computers for a while, and then about 3 or 4 months he came back and he says, "Mom, yes, I won't be going into work tomorrow." And I went, oh dear, why? And he says, "I cannot work for the guy." He said, he's totally inauthentic. And I thought, gosh, what courage, what boldness. I never had that at 19. I can't remember having that. And then I said to him, "Son, but what about, you have to earn money to live on the planet, etc." He said, "Mom, the problem with all of you," he said, "is I didn't just come to the planet like ye all did," he said, "to work. I came here to do more than work." And in that moment, my son was the teacher. And this is it. Living in humbleness right now is very important because you don't know where along the way or in your day you'll meet somebody and they'll say something to you that it'll connect with the resonance of where, the inner you is driving you or encouraging you to go. I would say pay attention. Pay attention. Pause and pay attention because you just don't know where that will take you on the next step of your journey.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Molly, for this juicy conversation.
Thank you.
Another inspiring one. I'm just like not overwhelmed with all these fantastic conversations, because my heart sings when I hear those shifts and all those beautiful stories, and just the real life experience and the wisdom that pours out of all of us when we're just aligned. But it's incredible the amount of wisdom that is out there, and it's incredible the number of people that are actually walking that talk. It's not just few people. I mean, we have to realize that we're just not alone at all in this.
No, it's time to live every moment from the threshold of possibility. Because we're called in this world to be possibility thinkers. We're called to be, as Dr. Jean Houston says, to be social artists of the future. So can you just draw it moment to moment and live it? That's the biggest thing. It's got to come from your beingness. It's not about your doingness anymore. It's all about the essence of your presence.
Presence. Much love, my delicious co-creators. I love you guys. I send you so much love from beautiful Windsor in the UK. And there's some more coming up, because of course there's a lot more things to talk about, and to just, we're all like part of this big puzzle, and I love it. Thank you so much, Molly.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you everybody out there.
Bye guys.